Welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail. I'm Commander Tyrael. It is the 2nd of July 1794. In the middle of a revolution and the politics of terror, a famine broke out in France. France has sent a huge convoy of supplies from America under the protection of their fleet. We must intercept this convoy, so that the French Republic will drown in the blood of hunger riots. On the 1st of June 1794, our fleet engaged in battle with a French escort and was victorious, but in doing so, we were sufficiently delayed and the convoy was able to break through the blockade. Fortunately, one of our patrols discovered part of the convoy, and the fate of the French Republic is now in our hands. We must destroy as much of the convoy as possible. In the last episode, we managed to capture a brand new flagship, the HMS Audacity. She was named the Audacious, but after such a hard battle, it was time to start renaming the really important ships in our fleet. So, HMS Audacity is now our brand new second-rate flagship. HMS Arrogant, formerly the Arrogante. We have HMS Ardent, formerly the Hippo. HMS Astute was formerly the Palmer, and HMS Agamemnon has kept her name as she was a British ship. Now this looks like it's going to be a very long battle. There is quite a large formation for us to assault. So the plan of action without seeing the battlefield is to put all of our ships of the line on one wing, a really strong wing. And on the other side we'll have HMS Falcon, our last loyal frigate from our campaign in America, and a few other ships that we've added. We have a small brig there where I'm going to experiment with the smaller heavy 18-pound carronades. I don't expect them to be too effective, but it's worth a try. The French were clever, and while their main fleet distracted ours, they split their convoy into multiple smaller groups in the hope that at least some of them would get through with the desperately needed supplies. To our good fortune, we have managed to spot one of these groups, but unfortunately this one seems to have retained a significant escort, and destroying it is our priority. Our orders are to destroy or capture as many transports as possible, but if the escort proves to be too strong, we are free to disengage. To complicate the task of French escorts, we will attack from two sides. Though one side will be a battering ram, and the other side will be a feather. We dance around, harass, try and sneak through and attack the actual transports, whereas the main battle line, which contains all of our strongest ships, will be a nice little ram right through them. Now, as is our modus operandi, we are going to board as many ships as we can and subsume them into the British Empire. Not only will we take the French food from their mouths, we will put it in our own bellies. We don't have the favor of the wind to approach this engagement, but this wind angle will give us significant range on Audacity's weapons. She has very heavy guns, and she has 90 of them. Alceste seems to be the flagship of the defensive squadron, and she's making a hard attack. She's seen the strength of this lower wing, the northern wing, and I guess they're going to try and put themselves on either side of us. Audacity has amazing firepower compared to what we've been using previously. All of her gun decks are very large guns, and so close range she's going to absolutely obliterate any ship that lets her. HMS Falcon, a little bit stuck there, coming across the wind. And it seems that the escorts are just completely abandoning their transports for our northern wing, because it has a significant amount of strength. But as is our method, we're going to sneak through and harass with our little ships. That was a tactic that paid off really well early in the campaign to capture our first ship of the line, the Arrogante, which is now HMS Arrogant. If you haven't seen that, it's worth a watch. It was probably our most bloody battle of the campaign to date. We lost about 70% of our men trying to capture that ship. And as unfortunate as it is to say, it was worth the sacrifice. It made some of these naval engagements incredibly easy. So Alceste is a third rate. So they don't really have much in the way of really heavy ship classes here. But they have a lot of ships, so we just have to be careful. They do outnumber us. And they do outspeed us. Gracious. Targeted by HMS Arrogant. A well-earned name for a very reliable ship. She lives up to her name, that is for certain. At one point in the campaign, she took on 3 ships of the line by herself to let the rest of the fleet slip through and steal some Spanish treasure. I'm hoping we can replicate something of that daring sometime soon. She's coming in close. That's not very wise. We're going to board you. Yeah, your guns, they're tickling. They're tickling. But we have 1,000 battle-hardened men ready for your decks, little princess. Here comes HMS Ardent, the former Hippo. Audacity is running up alongside, getting very close, while also engaging with her starboard guns, across our own formation, at extreme range to hit an enemy ship. HMS Arrogant is taking raking fire to the bow. But we don't really have to worry because now the entire escort formation is coming down to meet our ships of the line, and HMS Falcon and her little flying squadron have got the convoy in their sights. That's a lot of grain and a lot of supplies. Can't quite finalize this boarding action. The ship is moving faster than we are. Hit the full sails. I still haven't managed to have a huge amount of luck with match speed order. I find I get a lot more when I just micro it myself. So our formation is engaged on 2 sides. The second wing of the escorts are trying to break through our line, and they're doing so successfully. But I'm pretty confident once we get their third rate under our control, we'll be in a good stead to finish off the battle. There's another one here, the Resolute. Gracious is caught between 3 of our ships. She managed to break through the line, but it looks like the rest of her allies will be left behind. HMS Ardent is taking a fair amount of damage in that close range engagement. The French definitely do have better cannon than we do. But we don't care about that. If they let us get close, we just board them. Straight up marine boarding. HMS Agamemnon is coming across the front of the formation here, trying to head off the advance. Meanwhile, back up to the south, HMS Falcon is coming in range to her first merchantman, the Carolina, and they are completely exposed. They've been left completely unguarded because the taste of a British ship of the line formation was just too much to resist for this French squadron of escorts. They were very impetuous and they dashed off and left us to have a meal of their convoy. Time will tell if they'll actually notice and do something about it, but for now it looks like we're just going to have a running boarding action on every ship in this formation. If I were the enemy captain, I would have rushed the smaller ships ordered the transports to turn away to run as long as they could, and then turned about to face the ships of the line because they're a lot slower. But hey, I'm not the other guy, am I? Despite the apparent ease that we're tangling up the escorts, I have a feeling this mission's going to drag out simply due to the amount of ships that we're engaging. A couple of our ships have managed to acquire a new ship of the line, a third rate, Resolute. Very nice, another one added to the bunch. We're literally just having a pick of their fleet. HMS Arrogant fighting on 2 sides, taking fire from 3 sides. But she doesn't care. She's a strong old girl. HMS Falcon running up alongside the Carolina, putting some grape shot in before the boarding action starts. We're going to have to dilute a lot of our crew by boarding all these ships. So trying to minimize the fighting as much as we can. The escorts are well and truly tangled up now. Everyone, it's just a real knife fight. Lost all semblance of fleet control at this moment. We'll try and get HMS Arrogant and her retinue out. They're all formed up. We've got a new prize ship, the Resolute. We're still fighting on 2 sides. And this is where our superior gun numbers will really shine through. Alright. Seems to be looking very nice. We'll get HMS Canberra up on the Glory. HMS Perth can belay and wait for new orders, switching to Grape Shot. The ships in the other side of this dual line are a little bit worried. HMS Canberra is going to block the path of advance. It looks like some of the escorts are starting to head their way back towards the convoy now. They've realized that there's a little bit of danger going on. We haven't been able to really be decisive with finish off the escorts. We have run a really good blocking line. They are caught between us. They have to go through us to get to their escort now. A couple of the smaller warships are on the right side of the fight, but they are getting pounded by Arrogant. Ardent's going to push through and try and get raking fire on 2 ships at the same time. Agamemnon's taking fire from the stern, but she's chasing down her prey. HMS Falcon finished the boarding action on ship number 1. We're just going minimum crew. Canberra's really blocking the advance of that first line of merchantmen. HMS Canberra shooting indiscriminately into the transports. The first of the frigates is trying to stop us, but they're going to block their own transports here. And so Canberra is going to move and board her. We'll have a floating roadblock. HMS Ardent has taken a fair amount of damage. She keeps being put in a bad position. Wonder who's doing that. The new third-rate ship of the line, Resolute, going to put her guns to assistance, fighting on 2 sides. The Gracious is taking a lot of damage. I don't think we're going to bother with her. We're just here to wreck the entire fleet. We'll board as many of these transports as we can, but if it gets too hairy, we'll just start shooting them all. Ships of the line are now targeting the merchantmen, making sure that they're on a warship. We want to try, like I said, boarding as many as we can. Arrogant's firing on both sides still. Taken a fair amount of damage this battle. But we have morale superiority and gunfire reload speed. All of the skills that I've been focusing on. Alright, things are looking very good. HMS Canberra can't really finalize this boarding action because of the traffic jam that's about to happen. HMS Perth is going to sink her prey rather than board it. Gracious is just getting in the way of everybody. Are they going to try and take back their merchantmen? Trying to dislodge HMS Falcon from the Carolina. HMS Romney with the carronades taking fire at the convoy. HMS Audacity has pulled up. She's got Meuse right in her sights. The Alceste has been absolutely slammed in a British sandwich. British sandwich with a French filling. HMS Ardent looking okay. Got an enemy French ship pulling up hard astern. Canberra is now boarding and we've lost, or we've had a wounded Sub-Lieutenant Rodham Scott. Gracious, listing hard, water lapping at the decks, pouring in through the gun ports. Carolina, the merchantman we've just acquired, moving safely out of range. HMS Audacity looks like she's going to ram right through her. We better turn her to starboard. HMS Canberra's boarding action is almost complete, still taking fire from Arrogant. We've had 3 ships rapidly surrendering. The Alceste, the Thestis, and the Meuse. Gracious is listing hard to port. We can push her over. Meanwhile, we're going to deploy some troops to capture these merchantmen that just surrendered. Glory's trying to run through the center of our line, but Ardent is turning to meet her. She's got HMS Perth hard up on her port side. Gracious still fighting, not doing too well. Her final stand. Meuse is needing to be captured, so we're sending a boat over. Glory is now being boarded, so we'll turn Ardent's attention to the Sybil. HMS Arrogant, we need to drop some troops to capture the Alceste before we get too far away. Anchoring up to stop that advance. Resolute, our new ship of the line, ready for action. Her crew's a little bit shaky. It was a rough boarding action. Venus was pincered between them. She will now receive the boarding treatment. Assimilation for the British Empire. Get that boat rowing hard to Alceste. The Thetis is sinking. Just come under our control. Ariana with minimal crew, small merchant ship, panicking in the ensuing chaos. We'll get those 2 ships underway. Arrogant is now boarding. Venus is under our control, sending a skeleton crew. Get everyone underway, turned about with the wind. Junon, one of the merchantmen, he's caught between all of these British ships and the French ships that are now hoisting the British flag. Glory seems to be in a little bit of strife. All of her crew are currently working on stopping the flooding. The pumps are out of action, and we may lose this freshly acquired ship. HMS Arrogant taking heavy broadside against the Junon. Resolute, our new ship of the line, firing on her former allies, the Nymph. A little bit croaky today, the voice is. HMS Perth coming about to bring her port guns on. HMS Falcon has safely escorted the Carolina out of danger, so she'll now exit that formation. I'll keep Romney with the Carolina for now. But slowly, as we progress through this battle, the dots are slowly turning red. Gracious is just refusing to go down, living up to her name, fighting on graciously. The Meuse, now under our control. Lots more food for British bellies. The French are going without their dinner tonight. HMS Ardent is taking on water. A few crew are on the flooding, but mainly under control. HMS Audacity looking good, so we'll turn her around to face any more threats that we might have. It looks like all of the warships are down, and it's just a matter of cleaning up the... Let's have a look around, make sure. Pretty sure all the warships are down, and it's just a matter of capturing the last remaining merchantmen. Definitely a successful action. Luring them out. Oh, the Luton is still active. She's a warship. The Escort has taken a lot of damage as well. A lot of our ships of the line took a fair amount of damage because they just got swarmed. They held strong and they've done well. Glory's still managing to hold on. They've got the pumps under control. They are damaged, but still on damage control. Ideally, I should send more crew over to them to help that, to save the ship, but I don't really want to. If we save it, it's a bonus. If not, that food goes down and we get our crew back anyway. The Gracious is finally sunk. HMS Perth moving to crush the remains of the ship as she sinks beneath the waves. Her crew desperately rowing out of the way. Sybil, one of the last remaining warships, is in a lot of danger. She's run up hard against HMS Perth. The crew from the former warship Gracious are rowing hard to get aboard their allied ship. Turning HMS Falcon around. Trying to get some order to these ships of the line. They are all running independently mostly. We'll cut Venus across. She's a brand new ship of ours. She's only running on a skeleton crew of 30. She has over 40 guns. It's a lot of work for that little crew to do. Sybil has been pushed hard and her guns are pushed into the water. She can't get a firing solution on anyone at the moment. They've just come right now. HMS Perth will turn about to face that. These two are fighting a much larger warship. Getting these guys back on. They've fought well. We'll try and get the condition of our crews up. While the Astute takes battle to the Luton. Broadside between the two ships. Basically at knife fighting range, but the wind won't allow me to get close enough unless she turns into me like she's kind of doing. Trying to get some fire support, making sure to hold fire on the Ardent so she doesn't hit her sister ship, the Astute. Resolute coming in to help. She has low crew. 54 guns and 120 men. That's a tall order of that crew. Things are looking very tidy. Very, very tidy. She's starting to flag, and she will soon be under our control. She's trying to turn about in the wind, but it's not really working for her. She's now taking fire from one of the other ships back there in the distance. Resolute also putting fire out. Astute is in a little bit of danger. The French cannons seem to be very powerful at close range. So you can't stay for too long. We seem to have much more of an advantage at range and then closing that range and boarding. Unless we have superior ship weight, then we usually do well in a close range fight, just through big fish, little fish syndrome. And I would like to call this mission a success. I will mop it up and I'll see you at the victory screen. So we've had a very, very successful action. Of the 16 French ships deployed, we captured 11 and sunk the other 5. So nothing got through to France, and so the hunger riots should take effect very soon. We didn't have to retreat, that was never going to be an option. We captured a bunch of ships, and we didn't lose anyone this time. We have a few wounded, but that's nothing. And we captured an insane amount of French rifles. 1,200 rifles captured. In an effort to stop our dominance of the waves, our old enemies, the Spanish, have decided to join forces with the French and have signed the Second Treaty of San Ildefonso, which means that we are in a considerable amount of threat. The crown is in danger, and this will put even more attention on our actions going forward. If you've enjoyed the series, make sure to come back. I'll see you then. Commander Tyrael, out.